Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, and I'm here to fight CPS and hang on to your children. Now, you just heard my attorney, Vincent Davis, talk about his very important podcast on this Saturday. I encourage you all to attend because you'll get some insights on how to fight your CPS case. And so it'd be well worth your time to investigate that. I also want to thank Mr. Davis for what he does for the fighting the child protection system. He gives a lot of his free time, and he helps out others. And so much kudos go to him. Now you'll find me, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. That's 14 shows. I've been doing this now for over a year. I've talked to over 300 people, and it's from around the world. I've talked to now 17 countries and all 50 states. There are 4 ways that you can interact with this podcast. One way is just by being in this podcast. Send me emojis and check if you want to follow or be notified. The second way is to text me a message. And you can text me about a comment about CPS or a question. Please state your first name, your city or your county, and your state. And if you're from another country, please list the country and the province. Also try to be complete with your CPS case. Say as much as you can about it. Now, a third way is to be a guest on my podcast. I have a show producer, Grace, who works very hard behind the scenes, and she's the one that you're going to notify. She can be reached at grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And all you have to do is pick one of my 14 shows, morning or afternoon, Monday through Sunday. And she'll take care of the rest. She'll send you the link. We broadcast on YouTube, and we use the StreamYard application. If you get knocked off, you can use that link again. That link's good for the show. Now, there are some exceptions to the time. Today, I'm going to come on at 4 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock because I got Friday Night Lights. It's high school football. The championship game is tonight. So I'll be leaving early to try to make it in time for the game. And then on Saturday, I come on at 8 o'clock, so that way it gives more people to see Vince's podcast at 10 o'clock. So I come on 8 to 9 on Saturday. Sunday, I come on 8 o'clock too because of church. All the rest of the times, I'm on at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and 7 o'clock in the evening Pacific Standard Time. Now, the last thing that you can interact with this podcast is a call in. My phone now is live. It's 626-698-0990. And you can call in on the phone and talk to me. It's my office phone. And we use Vonage as a phone application. And that way we can talk about your case on the speakerphone. Now, there's some good news is that if you are a guest on my podcast, one of the 9 spots, there's a total of 9 spots to be guests. With me makes it 10. So with one of the 9 spots, you can be a guest. After you do the podcast, I ask you if you want to talk to Vince Davis for free for 15 minutes. And if you do, then I'm going to ask you to text me your full name, your email, and your phone number. That's all you have to do. And then you get a free 15-minute of consultation with Mr. Davis. So once you send me that to my cell phone, then I will go ahead and contact Grace, who will set up with Mr. Davis your times that you want. So either as a guest on my podcast or by talking on my phone. So those are other ways that you can do it. Now, I've arranged a little bit longer time with Mr. Davis, extra 30 minutes. If you want 30 minutes, I have time with him that he'll do it for $60. He'll talk to you for $60 for 30 minutes. All you have to do is follow that website that's scrolling along the bottom of my screen. You sign in, pay your credit card, and you register for that, and that's how you would go and see him. So there are lots of ways you can talk to Mr. Davis. Lastly, I have a phone number on the screen at the bottom, 888-888-6582. That's my office number where you can reach Mr. Davis if you want to retain him, or if you want to retain other attorneys like in the areas of real estate law, immigration, divorce, criminal. There's lots of law areas there. So that law firm handles everything. And so the area that Mr. Davis is in is called juvenile family dependency law. It deals with juvenile and deals with families. And it's right up the alley for what you're involved with. That's who you're going to be dealing with. So just want to let you know about that. Now, we have people that come in here every so often and talk, which is great. I like to have that too. For some of you that don't understand what CPS is, I call it the Child Protection System. They've been mandated by Congress to have the social workers protect our children from neglect and abuse. So any reports that come in, whether done by a layperson or by a professional, they're taken in as truth, and you're guilty until you're proven innocent. It's the only court of law where you're guilty until you're proven innocent. So this agency is supposed to protect children from neglect and abuse, but it still happens. We had a girl this week on Monday who was 5 years old, and unfortunately she was raped in the home. She ran away from the home, and she found a homeless wilderness camp, and then she didn't have stay out of the weather and didn't have food and stuff. And the next thing you know, she was found, and they tried to revive her, but they lost. And so a little 5-year-old child went unprotected by CPS. Now, the sad tragedies about it is we're not protecting our children enough. CPS has learned how to make money off this, and it's a $1 trillion business. They're very corrupt, and they want to take your child away. They get money for it. There's an incentive program that was passed in law in 1979 by Clinton, and it basically was rewarding the social service if they put a child that was adopted in foster care. Family unification has gone by the wayside. You see, not only is it supposed to protect us, protect the children, but they're supposed to do family reunification. That's where they have to break the family apart. The family gets treated and everybody comes back, and then we try to have the family reestablished. Because studies have shown the best parents are biological parents. So I encourage you all to do the reunification. They're going to try to do other things. They're going to try to find you that you're medically unfit, you have psychological problems, your children have problems. They'll lie and cheat every step of the way. You got a very vicious agency here that's got too carried away. All you have to do is look at the pink ladies. These were 8 social workers, women, that went and bought a T-shirt, and on the front of the T-shirt it said professional child kidnappers, and on the back it said, parents, you know where your children are at. That's the wrong message that CPS should be sending out. That is terrible. That's horrible. And we really got to be careful with our children. They're very precious. CPS is missing a lot of cases every day that go unreported that children are being harmed or abused. It's not an easy thing to deal with CPS. They feel they're underpaid and overworked and whatever the case may be. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you're with your loved ones. Mine was kind of broken apart, so anyway, I'm a family man. I've been married for over 42 years, and I've had 6 children. 3 are young ones and 3 are the olders. There are 4 rules that I talk about very quickly. I'm trying to get through some of this stuff so we have lots of time to talk about other things. Rule 1, we've already talked a little about, is get an attorney. Mr. Davis is the man, and they need to get somebody like him, somebody that has fought CPS and gotten the children back. Furthermore, he's done lawsuits after the case was. They closed the case and did a civil lawsuit, both in federal and state courts, and won millions of dollars back from them. So it can be done. It can be done. So try to get yourself an attorney. Now, Vincent works out of Arcadia, south of LA. He also works in Riverside, San Bernardino, Orange County, and LA County. He has a case in Northern California, so he works up in Northern California. He has a case in Oklahoma, but he works in other states. So he is there if you need assistance or help. And he will help you. He will help you. Now, some of you may say, well, I got a court-appointed attorney. Court-appointed attorney don't have time. They have a caseload of 30 more clients. They're just your typical criminal lawyer. They're not trained in dependency law or how to deal with families or juveniles in the dependency law. So it's best to get yourself a real attorney. They're the ones. See, you're trying to fight an agency that's just as tough as doing open heart surgery. That's why you need a real attorney like Vincent Davis. And they are around. You just got to find them. It just takes time. And that's my rule number 5 is to research the internet. And you need to learn all you can about what's been happening in the internet. Now, besides the attorney, I have rule number 2, which is the documents. Create a notebook, 3 rings, stuff it full of paper and subject tabs. And one of the most important documents is the documents regarding incidents. You got to make that. It's a timeline incident log. First line, you write down the date, the time, who was involved and where. Then the second one is that so you want to research. Now, the research the internet, that's my rule number 4. What? I forgot. I'm sorry. We left on the documents. On my documents, you keep repeating that. You do the second line of the summary of what the incident is about. The third line is the outcome. And you repeat it and go over and over and over again. So it's important. Now, skipping on to rule number 3 is you don't allow the social workers in your homes. You don't talk to the social workers or police. And you certainly don't give them up your children. Too many people are just giving away children when they don't have to. Also, your meetings should take place at Starbucks or McDonald's, never at their office or your home. You run a risk they'll discover something. You're going to meet these social workers when they come knocking at your door. Don't answer it. Too many people have been killed by answering the door. You don't have to. I did not know that. They have to have your permission or they have to have a warrant before they can come into your home. Also, if there's extreme danger taking place, they can enter the home. That means if there's domestic violence, you're arguing with your spouse and you guys are taking pans and hitting each other. Well, you've gone from the very volatile state now to the heavy volatile state. So if you see them outside, all you have to do is say, hey, I'm going to get my attorney and I'll meet with you. But you need to get some time to get your attorney. Don't tell them whether you had one or not. Just say you're getting yourself an attorney. Now, the other thing I want to think about is medical trafficking. That's where you take your child or you're going to have a baby in the hospital. You may be going to urgent care or the emergency room there. So when you do not talk to the social workers. They hang out at the hospital. They will try to take your children from you. You just say no. It's fine. And as long as they don't have that warrant, no one can take anything from you. No one can take anything from you. So I hold you up to make sure that you collect your CPS workers right now, because soon I got to move on to other things. So the rule number 4 is research on the internet. The internet is where you're going to find everything. Spend at least an hour. It's the format that you choose that works the best. It's the city. If it's a small city, do a large city, and then your state. And then you do letters CPS, and after the letter CPS, what you do is write down the discrepancies. Now, the format is after you put the CPS, you put in what you're looking for, like the policy guidelines or the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, or maybe you're going to want to know the policies or procedures. So that's my rule number 4. And then my last one is number 5, where you gather all your important documents, your driver's license, your marriage certificate, your children's marriage, children's birth certificate. You want the shot records and any special hospital notes on any illness for the last so many years with the children. So now the last one that you want to get with is your folder of your legal documents. And that's your driver's license, birth certificates, grade reports, shot records, stuff in an envelope so you have all that material with you on hand, because they will ask you, they can be copies, your marriage certificates, any special medical attention was given. So stuff the envelope, keep that with your notebook. So those are 5 basic rules I wish I had followed, because I wouldn't have been in the horrible case that CPS got me into it. I wouldn't have been in there. Now that takes care of my 4 rules. I take care of how they interact with this podcast and how you guys can be a guest. And so it's time getting going here. So what I'm telling you right now, I have about 100 and some topics. Let me see how one of my helpers can come into the room. I know it's going to be slow over the holidays. And so let's see if I can get a hold of yourself. Let me get a hold of Faye. Here we go. I'm going to call her. Faye is a single woman that went through foster care in and out 5 times. And she has 2 children, but one was taken from her. And she has the other one that she's trying to get guardianship of. But she's in Richmond, Kentucky, and she's very knowledgeable of a person. So she can help us. I know that's good. Okay, it's ringing. They're 3 hours ahead, so it should be about 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 1:30 her time. Oh boy. Faye? Wow. Let me call you right back. Wow. That didn't sound good at all. Let's see if this sounds any better. Good morning, Faye. Faye, can you hear me okay? Faye, lost her. Okay. She may have difficulties. There's another one we haven't talked in a while, and that is Natalie from West Hollywood. Let's see what she's up to, too. Let's see here. Trying to find it there.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice.
Well, it's been a holiday weekend. All my regulars must be doing something else there. Let me see if I think that's the only number I have there. Trying to get it there right now. You have the worst luck here. I've texted everybody, so hopefully they will come in there. Now we don't have anybody in the room really right now talking, so I'll go over my case a little bit. Well, we got that wrong. I didn't want to put that up there. I don't know why that was up there. Okay. Well, some things I got to tell you about social services. They are very, very, very corrupt. All you have to do is look at the case of the Pink Ladies. There was 8 social workers that worked in Prescott, Arizona, year 2022. And they did something horrible. They decided to buy pink T-shirts. It wasn't necessarily the pink T-shirts. Usually that's associated with breast cancer awareness. But decided to put the T-shirts on themselves, I guess, and break into the apartment and steal things. Now, these social workers in Prescott, Arizona, who bought the pink T-shirts and weren't for breast awareness, stenciled on the front "professional child kidnappers," and on the back they put "parents, where your kids? You know where your kids are." That was a message they're sent out. What I'm trying to explain there is those are the kinds of individuals you're going to be dealing with. They're not transparent, and they're crazy. They're crazy. And it's really, really corrupt because you're not going to get a fair time to get your children back. Yesterday, we had a woman that talked for a good half an hour from South Africa who was trying to get who's gotten her kids back finally, but she had to go through hoops. Everybody I've talked to seems to want to go through hoops. So it's really, really hard, to get because you have these corrupt social workers. So this social worker in 2022 decided to parade around and parents, where your children are at. That was a really great slap to the people that try to make it a nice issue, I guess is the better way to say it. Now, I know one thing that is really, really, really hard is that how do you navigate when you're out there? Because you're like Alice in Wonderland. You fell in the rabbit hole and they are not helping you. They're not helping you. And so what that means is that, in the Alice in Wonderland story, you met the Cheshire Cat that sent you from room to room and you got nowhere. And that's how bad they are. They retaliate. So these ladies in Prescott, Arizona were fired, but it hurt the department because they need those people because there's nobody to watch CPS. And so that was a mistake on their part. Yes, the guy that did it got it fine, I guess. But you have to be careful because there's no accountability. Right now, there's over $1 million unaccounted for Richmond, Kentucky. They found the guy that is supposedly taking the funds. It's like the pennies things that PC Pennies or May Company, where a worker there stole millions of dollars there. Well, people have got the way how they can work off the low income. And so that's a really scary thing out there. And they don't care. They retaliated on my daughter. See, my 3 kids were taken. I had first started out in 2010. I'd lost my job through no fault of my own. Then I started getting weekly calls from CPS that alleged that I was doing something wrong with our children, my wife and I. We did not know it was my in-laws, my wife's father, and 3 incidents. That was bad. That was really, 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 really bad. Well, these social workers were fired because you're not supposed to parade around and show off and so like that. So they were completely shut down, which is something that we don't want to see happen because then there's families out there that have the money for food. They're missing a lot of things. They're missing a lot of things. Now, these pink ladies are gone. The department was shut down and the director was fired, but that didn't resolve the issue. In my case, my social worker lied, committed perjury on the stands. What had happened is that my wife's sister and her husband were trying to adopt her daughter. We didn't want that to happen. So Vincent was prepared to examine the social worker who was doing our case there, and found out some bad things about them. Well, he was asking questions about the my wife's sister and husband. They're inappropriate. And so the way, wait. Oops, I thought that was a call coming in. Nope, not a call. Notification. Now, it's really hard when your daughter is told to emancipate from your parents. Now, see, she was revenged. When Vincent asked her how good were the parents, my wife's sister and husband, to adopt her, and she said they're great. The social worker said they're great. But when I found out that would not have been so great, is your child would have been in danger. So I find out that I'm looking through my notes right now, trying to shift into something here. Oh, the 3E8 motion. Some of you heard me mention that. We haven't talked about that in some time. The 3E8 motion is when you want to contact the judge. You have your attorney do this, and you want to show new evidence or have your case and have it heard. And so you want to file the 3E8 motion. And it's really important that you do that right away. Also, if you're doing any appeals, make sure you do your appeals right away. It's very important to do those also. Now, the ICWA, the thing I mentioned to you many times before, the Indian Child Welfare Act, is for all eligible children that have a choice. They either can go to their Indian reservations with their Indian fellowship there, or they can refuse not to go, and other ones will take their spot. What is so sad is that ICWA was passed to stop all this, because what happened is CPS was constantly taking the children from foster care to adoption. They really didn't care about foster care. So that So this Indian Child Welfare Act was passed in 1978 by Congress, and it said that any Indian children who have 25% or more in their blood and could be registered or are registered with one of the 548 tribes, federal tribes recognized, that they could be right away given to the reservation, the tribe. The tribe would place them with Indian families so they could do reunification. That's what the whole purpose was. And because from 1978 to the 100 years later, Indian children were automatically adopted in foster care, never stand a chance to be family reunified there. So, that's why they passed that act of 1878. Now, it is so hard when you have all these little scruples in the agencies. there is so hard. I mean, you have to not talk to them. You have to have an attorney representing you. And if you get that court-appointed attorney, they won't have time for you and they won't help you out get your case. They're a legal attorney and they know nothing about dependency law. Now, let's go ahead and shift over to Core's Digest. Core's Digest is something where I read a question and we can answer it there. So let me go to that right now. Now, Core Digest is a question answered, and the question's asked, and then someone will try to answer it, and then we can see if maybe that's our answer too. We can check to see if maybe that was our answer. So let me try to find a question here. Okay. What is the worst thing with CPS? That is a good question. What's the worst thing with CPS? Let me see if there's an answer here. Nope, no answer there. Here's another question that isn't there. Have you ever regretted calling CPS on your parent? There's mixed emotions. Faye will tell you that because her case was really bad, what her mom did to her. Well, Jenny answered the question. She's a former Child Protection Service. So she's one of the social workers. And she did the social worker back in 2001 to 2015. So 14 years. And this Jenny did. Originally answered, what is the worst thing you ever seen Child Protection Services CPS do? The worst case I ever seen at CPS was a dead 18-month-old buried in a backyard. The mother moved to my catchment area on Long Island from upstate New York. She had a case there which transferred down to us when she moved here. I noticed that there was a third child unaccounted for. She came down with two children who had severe mental let me see here. She had a case which transferred down to us when she moved here. I noticed there was a third child unaccounted for. She came down with two children who had severe mentally things there. Oh, here's Faye. Wow, Faye, your phone was terrible this morning.
What do you mean?
When I called it, it just screeched.
What?
It screeched. It was so loud.
Screeched?
Yep, screeched.
I didn't answer. What do you mean?
Oh, well, something answered because I had to hang up and then it hung up, and I tried on Messenger and that didn't do any better either. But I'm glad you called in. I was talking about Core's Digest and reading articles on Core's Digest. And for all you listeners out there, this is the woman I was telling you about. She'd been in and out of foster care 5 times. And she had her mom turn her in with her kids when she had children. So that was bad enough as it is. But she got her high school degree and she got her college degree in nursing. But during her time in foster care, it wasn't very pleasant. She had to do punishment by standing on barefooted on sharp rocks. and it's ruined her feet today that she can barely walk. And then she's been molested and raped, and she was put into teenage trafficking. And it was sad. It was really sad because Faye knows it all. And she was trying to get her both children, but the social worker only let her have her son. It's really strange. She was able to have another child with her because the social worker said that she could take care of those two children, but she couldn't take care of her own. It made no sense whatsoever. It made no sense. So, Faye, is there anything that's come across? Have you had a chance to look at that young girl of 5 years old and how she died in Kansas on Monday?
I was not really, Bob. I was too busy trying to get stuff done around here yesterday to look at any news articles.
Right. Well, anyway, that's been really bugging my head because I see this innocent girl of 5 years old and they couldn't revive her and she's dead. So that was sad. And I just read about Nora's died. On that. This help thing, they have good parenting classes and good programs, and they should make these children or these parents take the classes and take the programs so they can better themselves.
And all the parents do that, and they still don't get their kids back.
Yeah, that's another kicker in there. They work so hard and then they get a letdown, or they get promises after promises and they're reneged. And that's wrong. That is really wrong. Well, anyway, I was talking about this social worker who told about an 18-month-old being buried in the backyard. And then she knew there was a third child unaccompanied, which she came down with two children with severe mental delays. Upon searching for the third child, the mom stated she gave the child to an uncle and didn't know where he was. Mom finally confessed the child died accidentally and they buried him. An excavation crew came in and dug up the yard, and the child was there for over a year. So he was pretty much an infant when he died. The eldest, who was able to speak, said that the brother was thrown into the bathtub and hit his head. There's a major skull fracture found on his remains, corroborating the eldest son's story. Mom took a lie detector test and passed it when asked if she killed her son, but did not pass it when she asked she knew who did it. The only other evidence he killed the baby, which the agency believes he did because the eldest son said so. No one was arrested in the case. Mom was 7 months pregnant again during this time when her child was born. CPS terminated her rights. Currently, the two older boys are in facilities for mentally challenged children, and the new baby was adopted. Now, the story made national news and occurred in 2012.
Yeah.
So it's hard when I hear these kind of stories.
Well, that is the 30% of the children that are actually taken for, or should have been taken for the right reasons.
Uh-huh.
It's a known statistical fact that the majority of kids in the system, there's only about 30% of them that are actually there because they were truly being abused by their parents or a caregiver.
Yep.
The others are there because they're either orphaned by their parents dying and they have no family members that want to take them, or they're there for behavioral disorders and their parents can't control them, so they give them over to the state, or they're status offender runaways. Or they've been taken for neglect confused for poverty instead of actual neglect, what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, here's one here called, what is the worst CPS experience you ever heard of? And let's see
there's too many to count.
I was going to say, how can you determine what's the worst? But Richard tried to answer it. A male friend of mine, who was 66 years old at the time, was babysitting his granddaughter, who was 6 years old. She wanted to go to the local park to play on the swings, slides, etc. So he took her there. There were a number of children, different ages there, some with parents, babysitters, other siblings. After about a half an hour after arriving, a police officer and a representative of the Child Protection Services arrived and told him that an anonymous person had called 911 claiming there was a child molester at the park and describing him. His granddaughter had been sitting on his lap as he read a book to her when the officers arrived. He showed the police his ID and explained that the girl was somehow he was somehow molesting because he had her sitting on his lap reading her what was his granddaughter. After detaining him for over an hour until his daughter and son-in-law arrived and identified him as their father and father-in-law, he was released. Several days later, CPS officers arrived at his daughter's and son-in-law apartment to determine whether their daughter should be taken away from them because they allowed my friend to babysit the granddaughter. This included the CPS people interrogating their 6-year-old daughter about what she or her grandfather did together when he babysit her. Oh boy, I tell you. No charges were ever made, but to be safe, he never saw his granddaughter again unless her father or mother was there. Little children love their grandpas, love their grandmas. And now these people are paying them out. Someone made a false claim. Now, here's something traumatic. People don't believe that when CPS breaks apart your family, there's a traumatic event. And here was a question. What is your most traumatic event from CPS? What did they do to your bond?
They took my kids. That's what they did.
Yeah. CPS did not oversee my intervention. They allowed a family member to conduct it. We appeared for a 10-day court appearance where a hearing date was set approximately 8 to 10 weeks in the future. And a supervisor access session was given. The supervisor access was arranged to be given by a relative or given a relative. Okay, I'm reading there. 3 times a week for a couple hours. I went off to sleep and no one really explained to me TGO and PGO. What in the world is TGO and PGO?
Protective orders.
PGO or TGO? Protective orders.
I think it's some kind of protective order.
Okay.
I think.
I spent nights reading the legal information called Legal Lines. My autism was worse when I was younger. I did not have the skill sets. I do not have the management. It was a horrible time with recent postpartum and trying to manage my autism, not knowing it was an autism. I was acting on my, I was not on any medication at the time. I was trying to make it through these supervised visits and cope with being separated from a child who I perceive as being with for 50 months. I begged her father to let me keep her. Boy, this is rambling on right now, Faye.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
Okay. But earlier this year, I found letters from my foster parents written by my social worker from way back when I was staying with that family. Me and my little sister had been removed from our birth family due to severe neglect. And much worse, issues were later discovered. But we were still allowed unsupervised visits with our birth parents. When we were first removed from their care, we were super pale, thin, and dirty. Reading the letters was really difficult because I had no memory of like 80% of my time with her and her family. But my foster mom wrote my social worker that me and my sister would come back from our visits with soiled diapers, messy hair, hungry, bruised, and neglected. She wrote back that when me and my sister had to go visit, see, me and my sister, because visits with soiled diaper, okay, had to go visit, they would throw fits and cry. In one of the letters, she told the social worker that we had complained of her Gentiles hurting, of her older brothers hurting us. The reason she was writing these letters was actually because she wanted the social worker to find us a different home because we had too many behavioral issues. For instance, I could just sit at different homes because we had too many behavioral issues. For instance, I could scream forever. She said she wouldn't even believe a toddler could scream for that long. But we screamed forever. She said she couldn't even believe a toddler could scream for that long, but we were screening forever, I think it is. Hold on. I would throw things right over the walls. As I read letter after letter, I would see how my foster mom was more frustrated over excuses and nothing being done. Growing up, I kind of always saw my foster mom as a super harsh and mean because I didn't understand. But reading these letters and see how much it hurt her to see us go through that and how she tried to stick up for us changed everything. But despite all the letters, nothing was done. Eventually, we were adopted by a different family.
Wow.
That's sad, you know. And a lot of these things have pictures of the children. You know, here's a picture of a girl with the tulips in her nice little pretty dress and her purse on her lap. It's just sad. It's so sad. Let me go back to the room here and see how our time's doing. Oh, time is up. We have now gone a full hour. And I want to thank you all for calling, for leaving me your messages. We actually didn't have any today. Faye's the only one that called in. I'm glad she did. So we had some action happening. But I think everybody got too full from eating turkey. Too much. There were too much gobble, 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 gobble. Anyway, hopefully I'll have my Thanksgiving this weekend. We're trying to have it with our boys who yesterday went over to their sisters to have Thanksgiving and we weren't invited. Anyway, we're going to have a Thanksgiving for 4 this Sunday. I think it'll probably be the best time. But I do want to get that turkey cooked and the other things that we have to do with it. So anyway, God bless you all. Thank you so much for listening and keep fighting for your kids. Thank you, Faye. Again, you saved me again. God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace sign off. I'll be on again at 4 o'clock. I got that football game to go to. So I'll be on again at 4 o'clock. That's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, another football game to go to? Good grief.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.